Hello class, welcome to Connected. Today we will read a story called A Brave Heart Dedicated to Science and Humanity. By the end of this session, you will have a better understanding of the story, know new words and answer questions based on the text. So, let us begin. Will someone volunteer to read with me? In doing so, both me and your teacher will help you. Great. So let us begin. The history of men's progress from the darkness of ignorance to the glorious light of knowledge and enlightenment is full of chapters that tell of extraordinary men and women. These men and women worked with great courage, commitment, dedication, and singleness of purpose in their effort to attain what seemed to be unattainable. These men and women were driven in their effort to uncover the truth and mystery of the universe with an indomitable spirit which characterizes the human spirit. And this is the spirit that drove Columbus and Vasco da Gama to sail to the unknown seas, Robert Peary to race to the pole, Sir Ronald Ross to fight against malaria, Hillary and Tenzing to reach the top of Everest, and Armstrong and his team to go to the moon. One great woman who dedicated her life to the cause of science and to the welfare of humanity is Madame Curie, the discoverer of radium. The mere statement that Madame Curie discovered the radium will never tell the true story of the extraordinary courage, determination, and singleness of purpose that this noble woman showed in the face of extreme poverty, pain, and suffering that comes along with such condition. Born Marja Sklodowska in Warsaw, Poland on November 7, 1867, Marie Curie's childhood dream was to study science in Paris. But her father could not afford the expense for this. So, Mary took a job as a governess and saved a little money. With that little money, she finally went to Sorbonne, the University of Paris, to study science. Her father could send her only a small amount, and her life in the university was a disheartening experience in poverty and hunger. She lived only on bread, butter, and tea, and she often fainted for lack of food. In spite of all this, she pursued her studies indomitably, and she topped her class with honors in physics and mathematics. It was at that university that she met a Frenchman, Pierre Curie, a brilliant but poor scientist. Then they together began to work in a shabby laboratory. Soon their friendship turned into love, and in less than a year, in July 1895, they were married. The couple then took a flat in Paris with scarcely any furniture in it except their books, a lamp, and a white wooden table and 2 chairs. After the birth of a daughter, Irene, the next year, Mary and Pierre set up a laboratory in a wooden shed near their flat. It had a leaky skylight and an earthen floor. Here, Mary, after her daily household work, settled down to study. Mary was especially interested in a substance called uranium, which was obtained from pitchblende, a black, very hard and very expensive substance. Uranium was known to give off very powerful rays by which men could see through many substances. Now, Mary discovered that what was left after obtaining uranium was even more powerful. Later on, Pierre and Mary found that there was not one but two new substances giving off these rays, although they had not yet been able to obtain either of them. They called one of them polonium in honor of her country, Poland, and the other was called radium. Radium is the most powerful of the radioactive elements, and radioactive elements can give off rays which can penetrate substances that are opaque to light. There was another French scientist called Henri Becquerel who in 1896 had discovered that uranium possessed this property. But polonium and radium possessed radioactive in much higher degree. The Curies now began to work with greater enthusiasm, but they were poor and pitchblende itself was an extremely expensive substance, which they could not afford to buy in large quantity. They, however, sacrificed all the luxuries of life to save money to buy whatever little amount of pitchblende they could. They lived in utter penury, not buying costly food and warm clothes for the extremely cold Parisian winter. Often they could not sleep during the cold nights due to lack of warmth. Overwork seriously affected Madame Curie's health. Often she was forced to leave the laboratory to take a much-needed rest. Her husband begged her to give up the struggle, but she resolutely refused. Mary was driven by a mad determination to discover the mystery of radium. With courage, she faced all the miseries of a life of poverty and carried on with her research along with her husband who loved and supported her. Luck, however, favored the Curies and a windfall came to them. It was a gift of a ton of pitchblende from the Emperor of Austria, who was an admirer of the Curies. It was the most precious gift the Curies had received, and in their shabby laboratory they toiled along, boiled and burnt, overpowered by heat in summer and frozen with cold in winter. The Curies continued their work for 4 more years. Wearing an acid-stained, dust-covered mask, Mary toiled along stirring large pots of pitchblende, ensuring that the fires beneath were active throughout the day and the night. Then, in 1902, success finally came. On a September night, the Curies, after a day's tiresome work, went home. Then, just as they were about to go to bed, they went to the laboratory to have another look at the hundreds of small bowls into which they had poured filtered pitchblende. In the dark laboratory, as they moved cautiously forward, there were all around them rays of soft bluish-purple light coming from the small glass-covered bowls. Radium had been discovered. Mary said to her husband, "Do you remember the day when you told me that you wanted radium to have a beautiful color? Look!" Look! Actually, what they had produced was just a tiny pinch of white powder that looked like salt. But it was to become one of the wonders of the world. With its rays, people would be able to see through the hardest of substances, except lead. The benefits of radium in the world of medicine are incalculable. It has been used with great effect in the treatment of cancer. The bacteria of such diseases as typhus, cholera, and anthrax can also be killed by radium. In 1903, the Curies, along with Henry Becquerel, were awarded the Nobel Prize for Physics for the discovery of radium and polonium. They wished they could have patented their discovery and become rich, but this noble woman refused to do so and gave it free to the world to be used properly. In 1906, Pierre was knocked down and killed by a horse-drawn wagon. Mary clung to his lifeless body and remained disconsolate. In 1911, Mary was awarded the Nobel Prize for the second time, and this was for chemistry. Madame Curie remained comparatively poor, and when asked why she did not make money by her discoveries, she replied, "I am working for science. Radium belongs to the people, not to me." In 1934, the health of Marie Curie failed, and in the July of that year, this great scientist who had given her life for the cause of science and humanity died. In every great man and woman, there is a compulsive desire to discover the truth. Madame Curie, who pursued her life's goal with great courage, endurance, dedication, and strength of character, is a living example of this statement. There are also men and women who show extreme courage when they are face to face with great danger. But greater is the courage of men and women who display strength of mind that is not defeated by extremely hostile and unfavorable conditions of life. Madame Curie certainly belongs to this latter group. Students, now that we have finished reading the story, let us have a look at the new words we came across today. As the meanings of these have already been shown to you earlier, I suggest you try to make sentences with them. Try to do this within 2 minutes. Show the sentences that you have made on your own to your teacher, who will correct them for you. The words are indomitable, scarcely, penury, and windfall. Before moving on, I will make sample sentences for you to get a rough idea. The sentence with indomitable is, the farmer's courage was indomitable. The sentence with scarcely is, there was scarcely any harvest this year. The sentence with penury is, he was forced to live in utter penury. And lastly, the sentence with windfall is, the rains gave him the much needed windfall. Now, let us look into some question and answers from the text. Try and answer the following questions within 2 minutes. Why the two new substances were named polonium and radium? Which gift did she receive from the Emperor of Austria? How is radium used in the medical field? How did Pierre meet with an early death? What proves that Marie Curie was a true lover of humanity and not wealth? Excellent answers, students. Now, match your answer with this answer sheet. The two new substances were named polonium and radium in the honor of Madame Curie's home country, Poland. The Emperor of Austria gifted the Curies a ton of pitch blende to continue their research. Radium is used in the treatment of cancer, typhus, cholera, and anthrax. Pierre was knocked down and killed by a horse-drawn wagon in 1906. Madame Curie was a true lover of humanity and not wealth, as she did not patent the radium, which would have generated a lot of wealth, but let the world use her discoveries for free. So that's it for today. Thank you, class, and I hope you all had fun learning.